Hello again, lovelies. Welcome back to the sauna. Oh, have I said that enough times in the last couple of days? It really is muggy. I'm not doing anything strenuous and I'm just sweating. Never mind. Okay, so today we're going to carry on from that last video. It's going to be a bit of a sort of a rescue the brassicas situation, rescue the Coco de Paimpol situation, etc, etc. Before I start, I'm going to take you outside and show you my workstation, because I think we're probably all at a similar stage at the moment. Or actually, maybe you're all ahead of me. I think everyone's ahead of me this year. Good grief. Just a word about transplanting and planting things out into the garden. In the last video I showed, I planted out my tomatoes. One of the reasons I raced down here yesterday to do that, I kind of really didn't want to have a garden day. I wanted to have a rest day. However, two things. One, the garden isn't ready for me to have a rest yet. But also, this was the key yesterday. It was really overcast pretty much for the whole day. The sun came out a little bit, sort of 4 o'clock or so, but for the most part it was quite a cloudy day. There was a breeze, it wasn't too hot, and much better for transplanting, I think, than on a really bright, really hot day. The thing is, when we take our plants out of their pots and put them in the ground, you'll often hear gardeners talk about this. I'm talking now to any of you who are new to this gardening lark. I know a lot of you aren't and know all of this stuff already. But we often talk about transplant shock. And it's just that shock for the plant of being moved from, it's been nice and comfortable where it is, and suddenly it's in a new environment. So when we transplant our plants, we want to try to do everything we can to, ameliorate that shock. So do it on a cooler, damp day. If we stick them in the ground before they've got the chance to put their roots anywhere to go and find water and it's boiling hot, they'll be like, oh, what is going on? My feet don't know where they are, my head doesn't know where it is, my head's being boiled alive. So yeah, try not to plant out on the hottest day. Sometimes there's not much choice. If I have to plant out when it's really, really, belting sun like that, quite often I'll put shade netting over whatever it is I've transplanted. You saw the other day when I transplanted my Dulong de Londe peppers, I put a little bit of a windbreak around them. Just give them a few days to find their feet, to start to put their roots out into their soil, their new home. Start to make an anchor into that soil in the case of wind. A bit of shading if it's really, really bright. Always a bit of a watering in just helps to settle the roots into that new home. One of the reasons I'm mentioning this today, as you'll see when we go outside in a second, is I've got my shade netting out. Now, my shade netting, you've seen my shade netting tunnels. They are made specifically for gardening. It's kind of obvious, I would have thought. The shade netting I'm going to use now isn't made for gardening. It's actually scaffolding debris netting, but it does the same job. It's great. Because I'm going to be pricking out all these brassicas today, and it is really quite a warm, muggy day. The warmth, not so much of an issue, but it's starting to get really bright. And when I've pricked all of these little babies out, the only place I've got to put them while they're still in their pots is the cold frame. Now the cold frame is all open, so there's no extra heat in there compared with, say, out in the garden. But the top couple of panes of glass, they're not completely removed, there is still glass in there. So the effect of the sun coming through the glass and landing on any of them in there is going to really exacerbate that heat factor. So as I do every year, I take this debris netting, I throw it over the entire cold frame, and it's amazing. It does just help keep the temperature in there just a degree or two lower, just keeps the blazing, I was going to say blaring, that sound, blazing sun off any newly transplanted or pricked out little babies. And my other tip, which I've got lined up as well, is I'm going to fill some watering cans, my 2 watering cans. I'm going to fill them with water now. The dip tanks run from mains water, and there's quite a few people on site today and they've already been watering. If there had been no one around, the water in those tanks, when it's left alone, it gets to a nice kind of temperature. They're metal tanks, they warm up. Because there have been so many people around and the dip tanks have been emptied a few times, the water that's come in now is really, really, really cold because it's come from underground, from the mains. So I like to fill a couple of watering cans with water now, just set them out somewhere in the garden. The effect of the sun on the black of the watering cans will just take the worst of the chill off that water, because the other thing I don't want in terms of shocking the plants is for them to be sitting there boiling hot and then I douse them with freezing cold water. Does it make much difference? I don't know, because you know the rain that falls from the sky is quite cold, but it's just a little at the moment, whereas when I water them it'll be a really good soaking. So I don't know whether it makes a huge difference, but I like to do it because I just think anything I can do to stop the shock of my little plants when I handle them now has got to be a good thing, hasn't it? Right, let's go outside. I'm going to show you my workstation. Oops! What a state. Yes, I need to get organised before I work. But like I said, I'm sure a lot of you are at a similar stage at this time of year. So, watering can, the other one's up in the garden from watering the cukes earlier on. Shade netting. They can go off up to the garden. Bucket of compost ready and waiting for me to fill pots. Oh, my poor kale. I mean, seriously, the state of them. So I've got my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trays of different brassicas. You can see there are still a few that I can rescue, plus the ones from Pip and Joy. So yeah, get them sorted. Ready to sow a load more Coco de Pampol. Oh, spoon. I use a spoon to do my pricking out. I don't have any fancy pants, expensive gardening equipment. Just a spoon, that'll do. But this is the big thing at this time of year, isn't it? I always start off quite neat and then I get really messy. You can see this is a few days of, in the wooden one at the bottom, that's full of the pots that came from the peppers. This has been tomatoes, obviously that top one this morning, the cucumbers. Yeah, pots are being emptied, trays are being emptied. I'm not rushing to get them home to clean them yet, partly because I still haven't fixed my sink. Oops, my bad. But also because now I'm about to refill all these pots that I've just emptied, refill them to prick out my little brassicas. So, yeah, you know, trying to work in chaos, never a good idea. So my first job this morning is... oh, good grief, Vivi. Yeah, get organised, get some sort of system, and then I can crack on and hopefully crack through this lot in... I don't know how long it'll take me. Do you know what? I've never timed myself to prick out. I think I'm going to time myself today. I'll let you know. Well, so much for timing myself as I do this. I've been having lots of lovely visits from plot friends, and I'm going really, really slowly. And it's a total joy. It's a real joy to... Oh, I've had so little time like this in the garden in the last month, where just sort of being in the moment and enjoying it, loving it. Everything has felt like such a massive rush. Just this sort of constant pressure of get that done, get the next thing done. But yeah, turn the timer off. And it will take as long as it takes. Yes, there are other things that I need to do in the garden. But goodness me, if we can't every now and again just slow it all down. Be in the moment, enjoy. Monroe's just disappeared over there. Monroe is one of Kay's cats. Kay came over for a chat. I was trying to fill up all my pots with compost. So the way I work, and I was talking about getting my seed station, getting my workstation, sorted out, getting some sort of rationale to it is, I like to get all my pots filled with compost ready to go, and then I can just go, right, tray of purple sprouting. Actually, I think I'm going to try and get 2 trays of purple sprouting. Done. Next. Boom, boom. Like that. But yeah, so I've got my compost down here. Scoop in the pot, put it in the tray, scoop. 12 pots in each tray. I can do it all sitting down, great for my knees. But then Monroe decided, no, he's going to sit right in my lap. So I couldn't move. I think sometimes cats try and tell us, don't they? I think Monroe was trying to say to me, for goodness sakes, Vivi, stop. Just stop for a few minutes. So I did. I stopped and patted. So lovely. So yes, it is going to take quite a while. But I had sort of penciled today for a full day in the garden. I've got my lunch with me. Actually, it feels like it's lunchtime already. It's not. Yeah, I penciled this whole day on purpose to be a garden day. So if it takes me all day, it takes me all day. And when I finish, there'll be some things I water, some things I won't. It's getting really quite sunny and bright again. Yeah, just go nice and slowly. So with this pricking out at the moment, if you've got a similar, either in a whole a whole seed tray, or in these cells, is to just sort of quite firmly get hold of that plant you're after and gently sort of tease the rest away. That one that didn't come to anything. So you can see there's quite a bit of root dangling down. So I'm trying to keep as much of the root as possible. You do lose a little bit of root because they do get entwined with each other, and as you sort of tease them apart, no matter how gently we tease, you can actually feel it and hear it. As we're teasing apart, some of the roots will snap a bit. So this will be a great example of the trickiness. It's Sod's Law where the slugs have been. They've massacred sort of whole cells, and then there are other cells where I've got 4 viable little, seedlings in here, 3 of which are all clumped together. So I'm just going to start by pulling out the stalky bits that aren't viable. Just get rid of those, get them out of the way. Take this one off because that's really easy and obvious. Just tease it, tease it, tease it. These 3. There we go. There's 1. Now these 2, I'm just going to pop my fingers between, separate them a little bit. Oh, is it going to be possible? Hopefully they'll both survive. It's always that thing at this stage. It's quite possible. You'll lose a couple. You'll end up with stalk and leaf and no roots. But hopefully not so many losses that you won't have lots of lovely plants to plant out. Okay, that's 1 tray filled. What I'm going to do for now, because the sun's moving around, I'm getting shade, is whoopla, pop them down there outside the shed in the shade. And then as I complete a couple of trays I need a label for this one. Where did I put my labels? They're in the shed. Yeah, as I complete a couple of trays, get them moved over to the cold frame. I need to put that netting, that shade netting on. Move them over there, give them a really good drink, settle them in, do another 2 trays, so on and so forth. Hopefully that won't go on all afternoon. And yeah, just carry on like this all afternoon, being welcome and open to anyone who wants to come and visit and sit in the sunshine and chat over the sound of a drill. Right, carrying on. Actually, I need to go and get that. I need to go and get my box of labels before I do any more. Otherwise, I will lose track. Yay! The Brassica Massacre rescue has begun. 24. Bless you. 24 purple sprouting broccoli. Get them in. Whoopla. Bouncing. Nice soaking with not freezing cold water. Drink up pretties, and then once I've brought them all down and got them all in, netting, over the top, comme ça. Not all the way to the front though at the moment because I've still got squash there. Really need to get those out, but never mind that for now. Let's just carry on with these brassicas. Otherwise I really will be here all day. Yay! Oh, I'm happy to rescue those. That's brilliant. Yeah, 24 including 5 or 6 from Pip and Joy. Brilliant. Phew! Not so many of the red kale though, unfortunately. Let's go and see how many I can rescue. What a shame. These are the purple curly kale that I've managed to save, and you can see from this one I had some really nice plants. There's about 4 there of a decent size, and then these, they look massacred, but I've saved literally any that have got the tiniest bit of new growth still coming. So there's 12 in there. Gosh, I think if I end up with 6, I'll be lucky. Let's pop these to the cold frame because I want to remember to show you something else while I'm down there. Ooh, kale cam. Ooh, watch it, Vivi. Hi, lovely. Can she do it without falling? Okay, let me just put lonk those on the deck for a minute. Yeah, what I forgot to tell you, mention to you earlier, is obviously as I'm going through these little cell trays and pulling out the best, this was the Cavallos. Yeah, they were all pretty rubbish. Of course, the compost that's in there, it's not been that massively depleted, but also it's a bit of roughage, isn't it? So of course, on this one of my, here we are at the gnarly bed end, gnarly bed 1, gnarly bed 2. So all the leftovers I'm just going to tip straight out onto this soil because literally, as I was saying the other day, anything I can add has got to help. Right, that's 3 varieties done. Time to do the Calabres and the Savoy. See how many of those I can rescue. Whew, goodness me. 3 hours later, look at this state of my hands. Oh, just wipe them on the grass. That's happy dirty hands. Yeah, So it has in the end taken me about 3 hours, but let's come right to this end. The Brassica Massacre Rescue. So here I've got 2 trays of purple sprouting broccoli, that's 24 plants. I've got a tray and a half of Cavolo Nero, so that's 12, that's 18. I've got a tray and a half, that's the other half of Cavolo, a tray and a half of Savoys, so that's 18. The uber disappointing 12 kale, of which I think 6 might come. And then over in the back there, 2 more trays, 12 and 10, I think 22, that's Calabrese. The kind of, you know, the broccoli that is head forming. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 12, 18, 96 minus 2, 94. I don't think they're all going to make it. Yeah, I really don't think they're all going to make it. But, fingers crossed, I feel a little bit more hopeful about these now than I did yesterday. That's a gorgeous one, isn't it? That's a Cavolo. And this one, this purple sprouting, that's a lovely one. So yeah, never give up. Keep trying. Some things you'll win at, some things you'll lose at, some things, most things, you'll come about halfway. Crikey, it's still such a sweaty day though. And now I can get the this shade netting on, because I won't, let's pop that there, yeah, I won't be to the garden tomorrow. So they've all had a good water, so you can see the sides are open, it's not going to get too hot in there. But the shade netting here will just give them a bit of protection if we get a blazing sunny day again. And then this this end is all open. You can see most of my squash in here. That's the next job this week, priority. Get all these lovely squash out. Oh, and 2 more courgettes gifted to me. So yeah, I really think I'm going to give up on the carrot bed and pop in other stuff instead. These spare courgettes from a friend. Maybe some of I've got some spare tomatoes. Oh, some more squash to go in. Yeah, I've got a few spare tomatoes here, so yeah, fill up with the spares. Yikes, I need to water. Look how everything's dried out. Whoa, look at the heave on this one. Should I help you? I shouldn't really, but I can't help but want to. Yeah, in the previous video when I was showing you these, that was at about 9:30 this morning. It's now nearly 3 o'clock. So 9:30, what's that, 10? So 4.5 hours later, and you can see just how dry they become. Right, I think it's time for me to do... Oh, I need to sow my Coco de Paimpol, don't I? But before I do that, I'm going to have a complete little break and pop across the other side of the site to see how Kay is getting on today, because she's been around all day. So yeah, I'm going to go and have a little quick visit with her, then come back and do some more seed sowing. I just noticed the chives are alive with bees all over. More coming into land. Just landed on your friend's head. Absolutely all over it. They're loving it. This makes me so happy. No fighting, you two. Beautiful. When people say to me, what do you do with your chives? This. This is what I do with my... Oh, there go my glasses. This is what I do with my chives. I enjoy the bees in them. Oh, happy days. Happy, happy days. I was going to say, a sort of hush has descended over all the gardens. Sunday, the day of DIY. Oh, right, let's get sat down and get this job done. Whew. I was just thinking, it feels like it's been a really long day. How long have I been here? For 5 hours or so. This morning and doing the cukes, it seems like ages ago. And it's one of those days. Oh, sorry, I should just say I'm now going to sow my backup Coco de Paimpol in cells really late in the year, but hopefully, as I was saying, we'll have a nice long summer and balmy autumn. So I'll get, instead of getting a harvest in the final week of August, first week of September, maybe I'll get a harvest first week of October. Yeah, it's one of those days where I sort of feel like I haven't really done much. Those cukes this morning. And just to say, I just popped over to see Kay and I gave her a load of my cuke seeds earlier this year, which she's got loads of, beautiful big healthy plants. She almost certainly has more than she needs. So if those pathetic ones that I planted earlier don't count to anything, there's a bit of a backup via Kay. Yay! And it's my own seed that I gave to her, so I know it's all organic, blah, blah, blah. Brilliant. Same variety, obviously. Yeah, so it's one of those days where, like I said, I've done the cukes, pricked out my brassicas, getting some Coco de Paimpol sown. And it really doesn't feel like much. I feel like, I should have done more today. Obviously, pricking out the brassicas took time, and I took my time overdoing it. I wanted to enjoy today, especially in this heat. But you know what? Oh, little twig into the bushes. For the fact that, it may feel like, shouldn't I have done the squash today? I'm planning to do them this week. Or shouldn't I have done this? Shouldn't I have done that? Shouldn't I have done the other? So much to do. I know with that little bit of a brassica massacre rescue, I've given myself the best possible chance of having brassicas this winter. And I'm telling you now, whichever ones survive in July, August, September, October, November, December, January, in 7, 8, 9 months' time, I will be so glad that I spent this time today sorting them out. Because they're such a staple for the winter, aren't they? So yeah, sometimes, we do jobs in the garden which they're not about instant gratification. They're not jobs which are photogenic or Instagram worthy. I mean, I don't do Instagram, I don't. But they're not even photographically cute for my Facebook page. None of that. But actually, that job may turn out to be one of the most important jobs I've done this year. Fingers crossed for them. Not only may it have been one of the most important jobs I've done, it's also been really important for me today to finally have a day in the garden that isn't horrible grunt work, that isn't miserable from start to finish. Oh my goodness, honestly, I've been such a curser for the last few weeks. Yeah, I think it's really, really important to have these days when just go a little bit more slowly, breathe a bit more easily. I would like to say sweat a little bit less, but it's really been a sweaty Betty day. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. Don't want to offend any Bettys out there. All right, my lovelies. Oh, I could just do this now. Just fall sound asleep. The bed in the shed beckons, but I'm not going to go anywhere near it because otherwise I will wake up in about a week's time wondering what on earth happened. I'm going to say cheerio to you all for now. Thank you so much for hanging out with me again today. I hope some of that was useful. I hope, as usual, if nothing else, that some of that has encouraged you to keep going, despite the fact that you feel like giving up. Pesky slugs. Oh, I'm going to put some slug pellets down. I've got the okay to use in an organic garden ones, I think it's ferrous oxide, isn't it? Just a little scattering of them, because now that is my precious food and I am not willing to share it with the slime bags. It's beginning to be time to breathe a bit more easily. One more week of some quite hard work. One more week of really committing to my future food. What are they building? Looks like an archway. I'm going to have a nosy. Anyway, sorry. One more week, big push, and then hopefully I can relax with the garden a little bit and get on with some sewing. Needle and thread sewing, that would be great. All right, my lovelies, please, whatever you're doing, however you're getting up to it, please look after yourselves while doing it, especially on days like today where it's not really bright sunshine and you could be fooled into thinking, just be out there all day. It is really muggy. These are the kind of days that we need to look after ourselves and make sure we're having our fluids. Keep banging on about it, but, well, you know that, don't you? Yeah. Look after yourselves. Look after your plants. And look after those deep breaths from time to time. All right, lovelies, I'll see you again really soon. Until then, bye for now.